Chapter 6. Detours. Atlanta felt pleasantly forgettable. Yani liked that. After Rome's ancient wait and the long metal tube across the Atlantic, the city felt like a pause button. Wide highways, glass buildings without history, a place where nobody expected anything interesting to happen. Exactly the kind of place where you could disappear for a night. The taxi dropped her at a modest airport hotel just past a row of chain restaurants glowing under sodium lights. The sign advertised free breakfast in cheerful letters that tried a little too hard. She chose it for exactly that reason. Nothing about the place suggested intrigue. No polished marble. No discreet staff trained to notice things. Just tired travelers and carpet patterned like it had lost a fight with the 70s. Perfect. Inside, the lobby smelled faintly of coffee and industrial cleaner. A television over the reception desk murmured about sports scores. The clerk barely looked up as she approached. Checking in? Yes. Passport, credit card, key card slid across the counter. Breakfast starts at 6. Grazie, she said automatically, then corrected herself. Thank you. The clerk didn't care either way. Her room was quiet, anonymous. The bedspread carried the faint geometric optimism of corporate design committees. Yani set her bag down and stood a moment at the window, looking out over the parking lot. A row of rental cars sat under yellow lights like obedient soldiers waiting for orders. Tomorrow morning she would wake early. She pictured it already. The buffet trays warming under stainless lids. The quiet clatter of plates. The smell of coffee that was technically coffee but had never met a bean with dignity. She would have eggs. Over medium. Her usual. She allowed herself the smallest smile at the thought. The phone buzzed. She didn't look at it immediately. Nothing good ever came through a phone after midnight. The screen lit her hand. Jack. Of course. She opened the message. Something came up. I need you to meet me in Las Vegas. Can you catch the next flight out? Yani stared at the words. Something came up. Her jaw tightened. Something came up, she repeated aloud to the empty room. Asshole. She glanced at the clock, then at the bed she had not yet touched, then back at the phone. 5 minutes later, she was downstairs asking the same clerk about flights west. The desert outside Las Vegas looked like the surface of another planet. Flat. Endless. Brown in every direction until the city appeared suddenly out of darkness like someone had spilled electricity on the horizon. Yani watched it through the airplane window with the calm expression she had perfected years ago. Inside, however, her patience was dissolving molecule by molecule. Jack had a talent for this, not the intelligence work. That part he was good at. It was the chaos that surrounded him like weather. They landed past midnight. The airport was alive in the strange way Vegas always was. Half excitement, half exhaustion. People arriving hopeful, people leaving broke. She stepped into a taxi and gave the driver the obvious destination. The Strip. The driver sighed. Marathon tonight. Well, a half marathon. What? Strips shut down, roads blocked. Of course it was. She looked out the window at the barricades and blinking police lights ahead, and the runners going by. In a moment of sleep-deprived thought, she wonders if Jack could be running in the marathon. She laughs to herself. Yeah, right. She knows where he is. Forget the Strip, she said. The driver glanced at her in the mirror. Where to then? Fremont Street. He grinned. Now you're talking. Fremont Street was exactly the circus she remembered. Light blasted from overhead screens in colors loud enough to bruise. Music thundered from somewhere indistinct. Tourists drifted through the chaos, holding plastic cups the size of flower pots. A man in a sequined Elvis suit stumbled past, arguing with a woman dressed like a showgirl who looked too tired to care. Yani walked through it all with quiet efficiency. Jack liked places like this. Crowds, noise, motion. You could hide anything in that kind of environment. She passed a street magician arguing with a drunk couple, a group of college kids shouting over cheap margaritas. Then she saw him, standing in line, waiting patiently, to have his photograph taken, with two topless nuns. Yani stopped walking. For a moment, she simply watched the scene. The nuns were wearing white habits that somehow failed to include the part most people associated with clothing. Jack stood there holding a plastic cup and looking mildly entertained. She closed her eyes briefly. "Nice OPSEC," she muttered. When she opened them again, Jack was laughing at something one of the nuns said. "Asshole." She caught his eye and gave a single, small nod toward a darker side corridor between two neon-lit bars. Jack hesitated, looked at the nuns, then back at her. Of course he did. Yani said nothing, but her eyes went wide. "Really?" He sighed and followed her, still holding his drink. They walked 2 blocks without speaking. Vegas changed quickly once you left the bright parts. The noise faded. The neon softened into flickering signs and tired carpet smells leaking from open casino doors. Yani slipped through the revolving entrance of a small, worn hotel. The lobby looked like it had once been ambitious and then given up. More importantly, she saw what she wanted. No cameras. They sat in opposite chairs near a fake potted plant. Jack sipped his drink and leaned back in the chair like he owned the place.
"You made good time,"
he said. Yani stared at him. "You told me something came up." Jack shrugged.
"It did."
"You dragged me across 2 time zones for something came up." He sipped the drink.
"You look tired."
She leaned forward slightly. "All hell has broken loose in Iran." Jack blinked once.
"Again?"
Yani rolled her eyes. "No." Her voice dropped. "This time it's different." Jack stopped smiling. "They have something," she said. He waited. "A special." His brow tightened.
"What kind of special?"
She watched his face carefully. A special, created from one of Israel's broken arrows they captured. The glass stopped halfway to his mouth. For the first time that evening, Jack set down his drink.